Shemu'El, Sheniy, 2 Samuel 19. And it was told Joab, behold, the king weeps and mourns for Absalom. And the victory that day was turned into mourning unto all the people. For the people heard say that day how the king was grieved for his son. And the people got them by stealth that day into the city, as people being ashamed steal away when they flee in battle. But the king covered his face, and the king cried with a loud voice, O my son Absalom, O Absalom, my son, my son. And Joab came into the house to the king and said, You have shamed this day the faces of all your servants, which this day have saved your life, and the lives of your sons and of your daughters, and the lives of your women, and the lives of your concubines, in that you love your enemies and hate your friends. For you have declared this day that you regard neither princes nor servants. For this day I perceive that if Absalom had lived, and all we had died this day, then it had pleased you well. Now therefore arise, go forth, and speak comfortably unto your servants. For I swear by Yahuwah, if you go not forth, there will not tarry one with you this night, and that will be worse unto you than all the evil that befall you from your youth until now. Then the king arose and sat in the gate, and they told all the people, saying, Behold, the king sits in the gate. And all the people came before the king, for Yasharel had fled every man to his tent. And all the people were at strife throughout all the tribes of Yasharel, saying, The king saved us out of the hand of our enemies, and he delivered us out of the hand of the Philistine, and now he is fled out of the land for Absalom. And Absalom, whom we anointed over us, is dead in battle. Now therefore why speak ye not a word of bringing the king back? And King David sent to Sidon and to Abiathar the priest, saying, Speak unto the elders of Yehudah, saying, Why are ye the last to bring the king back to his house, seeing the speech of all Yasharel is come to the king, even to his house? Ye are my brethren, ye are my bones and my flesh. Wherefore then are ye the last to bring back the king? And say ye to Amasa, Are you not of my bone and of my flesh? Elohim do so to me, and more also, if you be not captain of the host before me continually in the room of Joab. And he bowed the heart of all the men of Yehudah, even as the heart of one man, so that they sent this word unto the king, Return you and all your servants. So the king returned and came to the Jordan, and Yehudah came to Gilgal to go to meet the king, to conduct the king over the Jordan. And Sheniy, the son of Gera, a Ben-Hayamani, which was of Bachurim, hasted and came down with the men of Yehudah to meet King David. And there were 1,000 men of Benjamin with him, and Sivia, the servant of the house of Shaul, and his 15 sons, and his 20 servants with him. And they went over the Jordan before the king. And there went over a ferry boat to carry over the king's household, and to do what he thought good. And Sheniy, the son of Gera, fell down before the king, as he was come over the Jordan, and said unto the king, Let not my lord impute iniquity unto me, neither do you remember that which your servant did perversely the day that my lord the king went out of Jerusalem, that the king should take it to his heart. For your servant knows that I have sinned. Therefore, behold, I am come the first this day of all the house of Yosef to go down to meet my lord the king. But Abishai, the son of Tesuriah, answered and said, Shall not Sheniy be put to death for this, because he cursed Yahuwah's anointed? And David said, What have I to do with you, ye sons of Tesuriah, that ye should this day be adversaries unto me? Shall there any man be put to death this day in Yasharel? For do not I know that I am this day the king over Yasharel? Therefore the king said unto Sheniy, You shall not die. And the king swore unto him. And Mephibosheth, the son of Shaul, came down to meet the king, and had neither dressed his feet, nor trimmed his beard, nor washed his clothes, from the day the king departed until the day he came again in peace. And it came to pass, when he was come to Jerusalem to meet the king, that the king said unto him, Wherefore went not you with me, Mephibosheth? And he answered, My lord, O king, my servant deceived me. For your servant said, I will saddle me an ass, that I may ride thereon, and go to the king, because your servant is lame. And he has slandered your servant unto my lord the king. But my lord the king is an angel of Elohim. Do therefore what is good in your eyes. For all of my father's house were but dead men before my lord the king. Yet did you set your servant among them that did eat at your own table. Were right therefore have I yet to cry any more unto the king. And the king said unto him, Why do you speak any more of your matters? I have said, You and Sivia divide the land. And Mephibosheth said unto the king, Yea, let him take all, for as much as my lord the king is come again in peace unto his own house. And Barzillai the Galati came down from Rogilim, and went over the Jordan with the king, to conduct him over the Jordan. Now Barzillai was a very aged man, even 80 years old, and he had provided the king of sustenance while he lay at Machanaim, for he was a very great man. And the king said unto Barzillai, Come over with me, and I will feed you with me in Jerusalem. And Barzillai said unto the king, How long have I to live, that I should go up with the king unto Jerusalem? I am this day 80 years old, and can I discern between good and evil? Can your servant taste what I eat and what I drink? Can I hear any more the voice of singing men and singing women? Wherefore then should your servant be yet a burden unto my lord the king? Your servant will go a little way over the Jordan with the king, and why should the king recompense it me with such a reward? Let your servant, I pray you, turn back again, that I may die in my own city, and be buried by the grave of my father and of my mother. But behold your servant Kimham, let him go over with my lord the king, and do to him what shall seem good unto you. And the king answered, Kimham shall go over with me, and I will do to him that which shall seem good unto you. And whatsoever you shall require of me, that will I do for you. And all the people went over the Jordan. And when the king was come over, the king kissed Barzillai and blessed him, and he returned unto his own place. Then the king went on to Gilgal, and Kimham went on with him. And all the people of Yehudah conducted the king, and also half the people of Yasharel. And behold, all the men of Yasharel came to the king, and said unto the king, Why have our brethren, the men of Yehudah, stolen you away, and have brought the king and his household, and all David's men with him, over the Jordan? And all the men of Yehudah answered the men of Yasharel, Because the king is near of kin to us. Wherefore then be ye angry for this matter? Have we eaten at all of the king's cost, or has he given us any gift? And the men of Yasharel answered the men of Yehudah, and said, We have 10 parts in the king, and we have also more right in David than ye. Why then did ye despise us, that our advice should not be first had in bringing back our king? And the words of the men of Yehudah were fiercer than the words of the men of Yasharel.